Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going deep into Jodi Picoult's Mad Honey.
Oh, yeah, Mad Honey.
Have you had a chance to read this one yet?
I have.
It's such a good story.
It's so good.
It's a real page turner.
Yeah, and it's got so much packed into it.
It does.
I mean, there's family drama and mystery, and then it just kind of hits on all these different social issues that are so relevant.
Well, and it's Jodi Picoult.
It is.
So you're gonna get a good story out of it.
Absolutely.
But so let's talk about Olivia McAfee,
Okay.
our beekeeper.
Yes.
She's back in her hometown.
Right.
She's trying to rebuild her life after
Yeah.
escaping an abusive marriage.
Yeah.
So she brings her son Asher with her, hoping for kind of a fresh start.
Sure.
But as always, with Jodi Picoult, things take a dark turn.
Of course they do.
And Asher ends up being accused of murdering his girlfriend.
Oh, wow. So you've got Olivia who's trying to find peace,
Right.
in her bees, It's almost like they're her therapy in a way.
Yeah, like it's her outlet.
Right. Exactly.
Her way to kind of deal with everything that she's been through.
Exactly. And then boom,
Yeah.
this accusation comes out against her son,
Right.
and the pressure just explodes.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think one of the things that Picoult does so well in this book is she really plays with this idea of duality.
Okay.
This concept of things having two sides.
Okay.
And we see that right away with Olivia.
How so?
Well, think about it. Honey can be so delicious and sweet,
Yeah.
but some types of honey can
Wow.
actually be poisonous,
Oh, wow.
right?
That's interesting.
So it's like her life,
Yeah.
it might seem sweet on the surface, but there are these dark secrets lurking beneath.
Yeah, I like that.
And it makes me think, have you ever had a hobby
Oh, yeah.
that helped you through a tough time?
Absolutely.
But maybe it also had its own challenges.
All the time. I think sometimes those unexpected things end up being our lifeline,
Right.
when you're going through something difficult.
Exactly.
So speaking of complexities,
Okay.
we have
Yeah.
Asher,
Yes.
Olivia's son,
Right.
and he's not just some stereotypical suspect.
Well.
He's dealing with all the normal teenage struggles.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
First love,
Mm-hmm.
secrets,
Right.
trying to figure out who he is,
Of course.
and then also dealing with the expectations of,
Yeah.
being Olivia's son
Oh, yeah, for sure.
and all of that.
It's like he's wearing a mask,
Yeah.
Trying to fit in, pretending everything's okay when it's really not.
Yeah.
And I think we've all been there, haven't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Wanting to please our parents or friends,
Right.
even ourselves.
Yeah.
But sometimes that pressure, it can lead us down paths
Yeah.
that we didn't intend to take.
Absolutely. And in Asher's case, it leads to some very serious consequences.
Yeah, it does.
And then there's Lily,
Okay.
Asher's girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And as the story unfolds, we learn that she is transgender and going through her own journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the things that Picoult does so well is she really shines a light
She does.
on those who don't necessarily fit into neat little boxes.
Exactly.
And Lily's story really makes you question
It does.
how we treat people who are different
Absolutely.
and how important it is to look beyond the surface and be open to understanding other people's experiences.
Yes, and I think we can all learn from that,
I agree.
right?
And it's interesting how this idea of hidden truths and multiple perspectives
Okay.
ties into the whole courtroom drama that unfolds.
Oh, yeah.
Because the novel doesn't present us with, a clear-cut truth.
Right.
Right?
It's not black and white.
It's not black and white.
Yeah.
Instead, we see how truth can be so subjective,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And it's colored by our own experiences and our own biases.
Absolutely. It's like we're in the jury box,
Okay.
listening to all this evidence. And then we start to realize that what we thought was true might not be the whole story.
Right.
And it makes you think about your own life.
Yeah.
How often do we only see one side of things?
Right.
How do we really know what's true?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And that's something I think we're going to explore more as we dive deeper into Mad Honey.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to unpack that a bit more.
So stay tuned. Yeah, it's like there's always more to the story than meets the eye.
Right. And that's what I love about Mad Honey.
Yeah.
It's like you said, there are two sides to every story.
Mm-hmm.
But here it feels like there are even more layers,
Okay.
especially when you think about the title.
Mad Honey.
Yeah, Mad Honey.
Yeah.
It's so brilliant.
What do you think it symbolizes?
Well, I mean, literally, Mad Honey can be both poisonous and healing.
Right.
And that duality is woven throughout the whole book.
Okay, I see that.
It's like a metaphor for the characters' lives.
Yeah.
And maybe even for life itself,
Yeah.
Well, think about it. Love can turn sour.
Mm-hmm.
Secrets can protect you, but they can also harm you.
Right.
And even our best intentions can sometimes have unintended consequences.
Yeah, so true.
It's like Picoult is saying, hey, look closer.
Yeah.
Nothing is as simple as it seems.
It makes you question those gray areas in life.
Definitely.
You know those times when you're not sure what's right or wrong,
Hmm.
or when something seemingly good can also have a dark side.
Yeah. Have you ever felt that way?
Oh, all the time. I think we all have.
Right. And this idea of duality ties back to Olivia and her beekeeping.
Okay.
It's not just a hobby for her, you know?
Yeah, it's more than that.
It's a reflection of her own strength and vulnerability.
I could see that.
Remember, she's a survivor of abuse,
Right.
and she's trying to rebuild her life piece by piece.
Yeah.
And I think she finds a sense of control
Okay.
and purpose in tending to those bees.
But at the same time, she's also exposed to the dangers, right?
Oh, absolutely.
The stings,
Yeah.
the unpredictability of nature.
It's a beautiful parallel to her emotional journey.
I like
And those bees, with their complex society, their ability to create something so sweet, but also so dangerous.
Right.
It's like they become a mirror for the characters themselves.
That's a great point.
And for Olivia, you know,
Yeah.
those hives are like a safe haven.
Yeah.
A place where she can heal and reconnect with herself.
And it makes you think about what are those things in our own lives
Right.
that give us that sense of solace,
Exactly.
even if they come with their own set of challenges.
Yeah. What helps us find that balance
Yeah.
between strength and vulnerability?
That's such a great question.
Yeah. And you know, one of the things I appreciate about Mad Honey is that Picoult doesn't shy away from the messiness of life.
Right. It's real.
The characters aren't perfect.
No,
They make mistakes.
they're human.
They struggle with difficult choices. It
Yeah.
makes them feel so real.
Like they could be people we know,
Exactly.
like our friends or our neighbor.
Yes. Right. And it's through those imperfections
Mhm.
that we see their humanity,
Mhm.
their vulnerability.
Yeah.
And it challenges us to examine our own biases and judgments.
House.
Well, think about it. How quick are we to label someone as good or bad
Right.
based on limited information?
Yeah.
Do we ever really know the whole story?
Especially when emotions are running high.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it can be really tough to step back and try to see things from different perspectives.
Right. But Mad Honey reminds us that truth can be elusive.
Yeah.
And what we perceive as reality is often just one piece of a much larger puzzle.
Exactly. And that brings us to this idea of accountability,
Okay.
which is a theme that runs throughout the whole novel.
Mm-hmm.
As Asher's trial progresses,
Yeah.
we're forced to ask who is responsible for what happened.
That's a big question.
Is it just Asher?
Right.
Or are there bigger forces at play?
That's what Picoult wants us to think about.
Yeah, it's like she's holding up a mirror to society
Cool.
and saying, look, individual actions don't happen in a vacuum.
Right. There's content.
There are systemic biases, societal expectations,
Yeah,
even personal prejudices that can impact the course of justice.
absolutely. Have you ever felt that way?
Oh, yeah.
Like the system is working against you
Mm-hmm.
or against someone you know.
Absolutely.
And I think Mad Honey reminds us
Yeah.
that sometimes holding individuals accountable also means examining those larger societal factors that
Right.
shape their choices and behaviors.
It's complex.
It is.
It's not always black and white.
And Picoult handles it with such sensitivity
Yeah, she does.
and nuance.
It definitely makes you think about those bigger conversations we need to be having
For sure.
about justice, fairness,
Mm.
and how we treat each other as a society.
And that theme of accountability extends beyond the legal system, too.
Okay.
It's also about personal responsibility.
In our relationships,
Yeah. How do we hold ourselves and others accountable for our actions?
especially when love, family, friendship are involved,
Right. What does it mean to truly take responsibility for our choices?
even when it's hard,
Exactly. And it's a question that hits close to home for a lot of us.
especially for Olivia as a mother.
Right.
How do you balance that love and loyalty
Yeah.
with the need for honesty and accountability?
Even when it hurts,
It's a tough one.
it is. It's about finding that balance.
And Mad Honey reminds us that love doesn't always mean blind acceptance,
Right. Sometimes it means holding each other to a higher standard.
even when it's tough.
Even when it's challenging. Like, think about those tough conversations you've had with people you care about.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes those are the most important conversations to have.
Absolutely. It's about growth and understanding.
Yeah.
And even amidst all the darkness and the tragedy in this book,
Right.
there's this glimmer of hope that people can learn and evolve and find a path towards healing.
Yeah, and that's what makes Mad Honey such a powerful story.
Yeah, it's like it just grabs you and doesn't let go.
It really doesn't.
And one of the things that I think makes it so captivating is how Picoult takes all these like deep themes and weaves them into this page-turning mystery.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you're constantly like trying to put the pieces together, just like the characters.
You're right there with them in the courtroom trying to figure out what really happened.
And then just when you think you have it figured out, something new comes to light.
Exactly.
And your whole perspective shifts.
He's a master at that.
She is.
Building suspense, keeping you guessing.
Until the very end.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the plot twists.
Right.
It's about those moments where you connect with the characters on this really deep level.
Yeah.
Like you feel Olivia's fierce love for her son, even as you're wondering, you know, is he capable of this?
Right.
And then Lily's story is just so beautifully told.
It is.
You can't help but root for her.
Yeah.
And she's trying to navigate all the challenges of just being true to herself.
I think it really speaks to Picoult's talent as a writer.
It does.
You know, her ability to create these characters that are both flawed and relatable.
They're so human.
They are.
And I think Mad Honey really doesn't shy away from those difficult conversations.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
You know, about domestic abuse, gender identity, even the flaws in our legal system.
It's real life.
Yeah, these are real issues that people face every day.
And she brings them to life in a way that's both thought-provoking and sensitive.
I agree.
You know?
It's like she's using fiction as a way to open our eyes.
Yeah, to the complexities of the world.
Yeah.
To what other people are going through.
And maybe even challenge some of our own assumptions.
For sure.
You know, it's about broadening our perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having those tough conversations even when they're uncomfortable.
Right, and recognizing that everyone has a story. And sometimes the truth is a lot more complicated
than we initially think.
Than we realize, yeah.
So if you haven't read Mad Honey yet, you got to check it out.
I highly recommend it.
It'll stay with you.
It's a story that'll stay with you long after you finish it.
Yeah.
You'll be thinking about it.
And you'll be thinking about love and forgiveness and the search for truth.
In a world that's rarely black and white.
Exactly.
Well, we've had a great time today diving deep into Mad Honey.
We did.
But before we go, we want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
Mad Honey shows us that, you know, truth can look different depending on who's telling the story.
Right.
So how do you approach truth-seeking in your own life?
That's a great question.
What steps do you take to make sure you're seeing all sides before forming an opinion?
Something to think about.
That's something we can all reflect on.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for buzzing with us.
For this deep dive into Mad Honey.
Keep those conversations going, everyone.